Welcome to Jerry's Fish Room.
All right, guys, welcome back to Jerry's Fish Room. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Thank you to all of you that support the channel through subscribing, liking the videos, watching the videos, and leaving comments. It's just love the interaction. And again, I am so thankful that you support the channel. Quick announcement. The giveaway I announced for 2 t-shirts that are going to go to 2 people who comment in last week's video. That is going to close this coming Tuesday, so you still have time. So go check out last week's video, leave a comment, and I will be drawing from the names of all of you that have left comments in last week's video. Now I will reach out to you and get you my email address. I will leave that to the winners by responding to your comment. So look for that. So that way you guys can reach out to me with an email, and we'll turn around and announce it probably in 2 weeks. I'll reach out to the winners beforehand, but I'll announce it in a video who they were in 2 weeks when I get back from my trip to Nashville, which I'm so looking forward to. That's happening this week. So guys, I am coming to you from a little different location. I'm here in my bedroom with my 180-gallon discus tank. Wanted to just take a moment and show that off a little bit as a background. I know a lot of times we see the Africans, so I figured I'd give us a little different flavor this week. This week's topic has been, it's a little bit different in the sense that it's been a rough week. And I just choose to share these types of videos with you guys so that you guys can learn from any of the issues that I have. You know, I don't want videos that are just all hunky-dory, all wonderful, everything is great, the hobby is smooth, there's no headaches, because that's really not truthful. And so this is me being honest with you. I had a bad week, and it started out about a week and a half ago. My 2 double black angels that I got from Consolidated Fish Farms, they had previously the week before laid some eggs, and so I thought maybe I would get something out of it, but I didn't. But I noticed about a week after they laid their eggs, they started to wane a little bit in their eating habits. They weren't really going after the flake food when I was putting it in, and I put bloodworms in. They weren't really attacking the bloodworms, and in any fish that doesn't attack bloodworms for the most part, you can kind of tell maybe there's something wrong. So about a day or so later, after probably 2 or 3 days of watching them, a day or so later, I saw one of them have some stringy white poop, and so did a little research again, you know, because I've heard that stringy white poop has a lot of times has something to do with parasites. Also learned that stringy white poop sometimes means, yeah, their bellies are empty, and the only thing they're pooping out are the mucus, and so that's kind of a transparent white color as well. So reached out to my good friend Dan with Consolidated Fish Farms, kind of talked through what I was experiencing, and we both agreed, or he recommended, and I agreed naturally to start a treatment process for parasites, just in case, as we really didn't know what was going on. But the stringy white poop thing and the no eating thing kind of maybe pointed towards parasites, so that was the avenue we took. He recommended some garlic guard and metronidazole to mix in with their flakes. I already had bought a while ago from Ken's Fish, I think is the name of the place on the website, some pre-medicated, infused with metronidazole fish flakes, fish flake food. And so I started treating with that, giving them just that to eat. And again, the flake food would just kind of float by them and land on the bottom. And I don't really know how much of it they really consumed. After all, one of the symptoms was I didn't see them doing a whole lot of eating. So I wasn't sure if they were consuming it at night or if it was just dissolving away, you know, in the tank. So I went to step 2, and I treated them with Paracleanse, Fritz Paracleanse. Did notice that in the 29 I treated it. I've never used it before, so it takes 1 pack for every 10 gallons 29-gallon tank. I treated it with 3 packs. Next day after that first treatment, tank went cloudy. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I'm not sure if that's supposed to happen or not, but the fish don't look stressed, so I'm going to leave it alone. Following day, tank cleared up, no problems. So the very next day, after that one treatment, I was going to move them into the 55-gallon tank that I had in the garage. As you know, I made an announcement I was going to move my fish room out there. Already had a 55-gallon. I just resealed it. And so got the water temperatures correct. Everything matched up. Took sponge filters that I've been seeding for a long time in my African cichlid tank. Dropped them in, hooked up the air lines, and poured in a bottle of Fritzyme 7 just to seed it some more with some bacteria, and then place the angels in. And that happened probably 5 or 6 o'clock at night, so 6 o'clock or something like that after I got home from work. I got up next morning, fish were still good, or they were in there, still swimming around. Came home, went out that evening to feed them, and unfortunately I lost both fish. Was a bit concerned about the temperatures. It was a 94-degree day. Gets a little warm in Florida. Water temp got up to about 84. Did some research to make sure that that wasn't a problem for angels. And it's not. The angels can get up to as high as 86. I probably wouldn't do that, and I don't really recommend that. 84, I think, is probably the top level where would keep them, and I can tell you that because I have the third angel, the one remaining angel, is in this discus tank behind me, and he's doing just perfectly fine at 84 degrees. He was also, just to let you know, in the garage in a 20-gallon tank below the 55, and he had no problems with the temperatures. So it caused me a bit of confusion. I was trying to figure out what happened, and I was starting to think maybe it was the parasites. And then I decided, you know what? I want to just check that out, make sure and confirm, because I got some mollies that are in this tank here. They've been living in 84-degree water. They should have no problem handling that tank and that in the garage. So I put 3 mollies in there. 24 hours later, they were dead. So I was totally clueless at this point what happened. Frustrated, depressed a little bit. You don't ever want to lose fish. And then I put 3 more in there just to kind of confirm there was no issues, and lost them. And so I was a little bit at a loss. So one of the things I did at that point was I reached out to Brandon, the blind fish keeper, and just kind of walked through the problems, walked through the whole process, what I did, what happened, where it was going. And as we were talking about it, he asked me one question. He said, hey, was there anything different you did with that 55-gallon tank that you didn't do with the 180 that you resealed? And it got me to thinking. I said, well, there's 2 things. Number one, I ended up going to Lowe's and getting 100% silicone, because I had done the research when I was doing this reseal behind me, and a lot of people said make sure it said 100% silicone, and make sure it doesn't say like mildew resistant or mold resistant. You don't want those chemicals, because those chemicals will harm the fish. So I looked at the caulking, and it said 100% silicone. There was nothing about mildew or anything else. Some videos said, hey, just use the aquarium safe silicone. So when I did the 180, I used the aquarium safe. But when I did the 55, I went and bought 100% silicone caulk, and I resealed it because it was a little bit more convenient to get the caulking from Lowe's, because they don't have any caulking that says aquarium safe, but it said 100% silicone. So I went that route. And then the second thing that I did was, when I resealed this tank, they cured for the same length of time, 3 or 4 days. With this tank, I had water in it for 3 weeks, because I wanted to make sure it's 180 gallons, didn't want it to leak. The 55, I only had water in it for 3 days. Not so sure that was the issue, but again, it was something different that I did. So when you're dealing with these fish problems, one of the things, it's really great to have a fish friend. You know, like I do. I've got a couple of them that I can bounce some things off. And they can help you identify maybe something that is going wrong. But at the very least, go back and retrace your steps. If you've done something one time and it was very successful, and you did it a second time and it wasn't, go back and retrace your steps and see if there's anything different about that second time than your successful first time. I did that with Brandon. We believe that the chemical coming off of the silicone potentially could be an issue. The one thing I did notice is, again, I put the water in the tank, put the fish in the tank. It was 24 hours. I had 0.5 parts per million of ammonia that showed up. I don't know that that should have showed up that quickly, number one. Number two, yes, it wasn't enough ammonia to damage the fish. Well, no, any ammonia is bad, but 0.5, even on aquarium co-op strips, they tell you, look, that's caution zone. It's not water change zone. However, that doesn't mean that there's not something else that got in the water. So I think we found that potentially the real problem was using the caulk that I bought from Lowe's potentially has poisoned the water, and that's what's killed the fish. Again, guys, I guess the big lesson takeaway is if you do it right once, do the same thing the second time. Don't take any shortcuts. You know, just make sure, you know. I did the research, thought I was on the right path because it did, you know, a lot of them said 100% silicone, but don't push it. Just stay with the way you did it the first time. The second thing I would say is, man, if you don't have a fish friend, try to get a fish friend or reach out to these people that are watching these videos and stay in communication with them. It's a great resource to be able to just bounce things off because sometimes they will see things that you won't. And for me, I was so focused on temperature because I was getting, after those fish died, I was getting temperatures upwards of 86 degrees in my tanks. And so I was so focused on temperature, I didn't even think about the caulking difference. And a friend of mine asking the right questions that's in the hobby kind of helped me figure out those were the two things I did differently. And then I guess the last thing is, guys, you're going to have setbacks. Don't let the setbacks discourage you in the hobby. You got to just keep pushing forward no matter what happens, guys. Setbacks are going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now, yes, all these videos, a lot of these videos out on YouTube, everything is perfect, everything is great, this is all wonderful. Setbacks happen. I'm a perfect example of it. I wish there were more videos out there that of people just going, this is where I screwed up, because I think we could all learn from it. So guys, with all that being said, it's not going to discourage me. I got some more changes. We're not going to be doing the fish room move in the garage. I have issues with the heat, concerns with that, but I got a lot of other things planned. I am going to Nashville. I am going to go get with glass cages, and hopefully still the plan is to try to get some sort of a tank out of that deal, buy a tank from them. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. So guys, until next week, keep loving the fish.